Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host,
Brett Gilliland.
Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I'm your host, Brett Gilliland, and today we've got our F to the 6 Power podcast. Third month. Can you believe that?
It's great.
Third time. So Scott Vieregge is here to talk about faith. So Scott, what's been going on the last month?
Just living a good life, trying to do things, working on the business, chasing kids around. It's been fun.
Baseball started. It's officially here.
Baseball started. We're going. So
there's two types of teams. There's the teams that start practicing tonight, and then there's the teams that have their fifth game tonight.
That's right.
And that's where we're at.
Fifth game tonight. That's right.
We have our first practice, so that's for another podcast. Scotty, talk to us about when your faith stopped being something you did versus something you just became. It's who you are.
Wow, that's a good question. I think that, for me, it's been really for about as long as I can remember. It's been just who I am and part of me. And I don't really, maybe as a young kid, but don't really remember a lot of time when it wasn't just a part of me.
So you grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not like one of those things for you where it's somebody trying to get in to go to the gym or something like that. You're trying to build the habit. It's just a habit.
Yeah. Now, you say that, there's always things, working on as far as, my Christian faith, as far as just obedience, and continues to grow and blossom, but it's always a work in progress too. So
awesome. So Easter's coming up right around the corner. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Major event in the Christian world, probably the foundational event, right? If you're unfamiliar with it, Christians believe that Jesus was beaten and hung on a cross and died, and that day we celebrate as Good Friday, coming up here in a couple weeks. And then on Sunday, we celebrate Easter, the day he rose from the dead. And so him willing to come down to this earth to die for us is what allows us to be able to have eternal life and have that freedom. So
that's great. What do you have to share with us from a homework standpoint, and then also the stuff I know you wanted to share from a Easter standpoint?
Yeah. So let me go through a couple of Easter things first, and then we'll get into some. We'll call it homework, but it's really easy. So I just wanted to share kind of that Easter a little bit. So talks about in the Gospel of Luke, we talked about last month, of different versions. So this is coming from the NLT, or New Living Translation. Talk about reading our Bible and creating a habit of that. So this is out of the Gospel of Luke. It's one of those first books we should probably look to read if we're new to the Bible. But he says in Luke chapter 23 and verse 32, it says, "Two others, both criminals, were led out to be executed with him. When they came to a place called the Skull, they nailed him to the cross. And the criminals were also crucified, one on his right and one on his left." So, and I have a lot there, but we'll just kind of stop there. So him being nailed to the cross. And then we skip down to the next chapter 24. It says, "But very early on Sunday morning, the women went to the tomb, taking spices they had prepared." So they're looking to, take care of his body, as we do in our modern culture, take care of bodies after they've passed away. "They found that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance, so they went in, but they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. As they stood there puzzled, two men suddenly appeared to them, clothed in dazzling robes. The women were terrified and bowed with their faces to the ground. The men asked, why are you looking among the dead for someone who is alive? He isn't here. He is risen from the dead." And so that's just a big, there's a lot of verses there I didn't read, but a lot there, just very foundational, again, like I said, to the Christian teachings and beliefs. And I'm not going to read the verses. I have them down here, but there's verses in Isaiah, which is the Christians call the Old Testament. There's verses in Psalm from King David, 700, 1,000 years prior, of this stuff being prophesied about or told that it was going to happen, and then Jesus fulfilled that when he came here to this earth. So really, really cool. The homework is easy. Hopefully it's easy. The homework, so we've had January, we had downloading the Bible app, getting into reading. Last month we talked about creating a habit of praying, taking 10 or 15 minutes a day to pray. Today our homework is going to be with Easter approaching. Let's go to church, whether that's in a week or two for Palm Sunday or on April 5th for Easter. I don't care what the name of it says on the name of the building, but let's go to church and find a church that has a Bible-believing church, and let's go through those doors and get into the building and around the people.
Awesome. Last question you're all going to get today. Who's going to win March Madness?
Oh, that's easy. My Dukies are going to win.
Duke.
Okay.
All right. I'll write it down. We've got a Duke vote. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
All right.
What do you say today, Dan?
You just want to lead with that? I got Duke winning it too, so you can just mark Duke down for two of them.
Duke and Duke. Okay. All right. Why don't you start with your good joke about the beach? Dan, for backstory, Dan had to lead a group today, and he told 2 dad jokes that did not go well.
What did the ocean say to the beach, Brett?
What?
Nothing. It just waved.
See, you got a group here. Yeah, we liked it. We liked it.
It's a good one.
And you have another fun thing you did, and we're not talking about fun, we're talking about family, but it was with your boys yesterday.
Yeah.
You had some fun and family time. So talk about that, what'd you do, and the funny part at that end.
My youngest son, his basketball team, they got an invitation to go down and hang out with the Mizzou basketball team to cheer them on coming in, going into the hotel. So it was Hyatt downtown. So they got to go down there. Coach Gates was there for probably 30 or 45 minutes before. Then the team came in, and I sent you the video. These kids are chanting the M-I-Z-Z-O-U for 15 minutes straight. These little kids are just chanting. So it was awesome. So we got to meet Coach Gates. He probably signed 30 or 40 autographs. My kids had shirts. They had balls. He stood there and signed them all.
That's awesome.
And it was great. And at the end of it, my son was sitting there with him, and he goes, Coach, I'm going to change my bracket now. I'm going to have Mizzou win in the first game.
It's so good. Not go to the Sweet 16, but just win one game.
So we had to talk about that later, about being kind to the coach and things you should say and things you shouldn't say.
It's part of the Dad Saturday. Maybe we'll do that. So as a high performer, obviously there's times where weeks are busy, consumed with work stuff. What is your family, what do they see in those times when work is extremely busy?
It's a good question. Maybe Dad's home a little bit later than he normally is. I think that's probably the biggest thing. But other than that, I don't think much changes there necessarily, because I kind of try to keep my schedule the same. I think my wife would notice a little bit because I could talk to her about what's going on within work. But I don't think a ton changes.
That's good. Yeah. So you stay pretty active with the same calendar all the time?
Yeah,
and
try
is it
to.
Color coordinator? How do you do your calendar?
I'm not a color coordinator like you.
Yeah.
I just have everything blocked out. I like to have my time blocks and when I'm doing things. You know, I'm a breakfast guy, so I cook breakfast in the mornings. Usually I'll start meetings if I do it by 8 or 8:30. But outside of that, you know, I have my time block and I like to stick to that.
Yeah. What's the one sentence, I was curious about this, that you want your family to, your boys specifically, even your wife, 20 years from now, what are they saying about Dad?
It's a hard question. There's a lot of things that I want him to say about me. I think that he was present, you know, that he cared, and he was engaged. I mean, I think that's what's coming to mind for me right now.
Yep. And what do you do in the times where, with all of us with kids, you know, you can get a little crazy and you're there, but you're thinking about something else. How do you keep your patience and your calm during the chaos?
I pray for it a lot. Scott was just in here talking about his faith, and I think praying for patience is really big, but also just trying to be mindful of that, because there's times where you're not great, but then bringing it back and trying to be patient and trying to be engaged with my kids, because as you know, you have 2 that are going off to college. It goes really fast.
Yeah.
Everybody says that blink and they'll be 18, and my oldest is 11 now, so I see that.
Yeah. It's funny, I was always told you're not supposed to pray for patience, so maybe I should go back to praying for patience.
I just think it keeps it mindful. So if I'm praying for something, then I'm trying to be mindful around it.
Yeah.
And then it's top of mind for me.
The person, I can't remember where I was at, they told me that. They said you shouldn't pray for patience because then they're going to give you more reasons to need to be patient. I'm like, well, I'm not going to pray for patience then. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to switch it up. This Sunday, I'm going to talk about that. Yeah. Maybe my daily prayers.
That's right.
Talk about some homework, man. What are we working on this month? What did you want to share with our listeners?
So one of the coolest things I did, I went last week with my oldest son. We went down to see a Memphis Grizzlies game, and they played the Dallas Mavericks. So Cooper Flagg's number 1 draft pick last year. We got to see him. So I looked at Indy, Chicago, and Memphis. That seemed like that was a good game to go see. So I started doing, my kids are 5, one-on-one trips with them. So I go for a weekend or 2 nights, and we get to go out, and my wife keeps letting me do that. But we go out to, my youngest one wants to go to Branson this year. So we're going to go for a couple nights, pool, hot tub, you know, lake, and just hang out.
That's awesome.
My middle one wants to go to Holiday World, and my oldest one, we just went to this NBA game. And so it's been such a cool atmosphere. I don't yell. They don't fuss. We go do what they want to do. Where do you want to eat? Applebee's? You want to eat at Burger King? I don't care. So it's such a fun atmosphere to go and hang out with them, slow down. We don't have any chores to do. Like, we were sitting there in the hotel room watching basketball games. He came over, just sat by me, cuddled with me, and like that doesn't happen that much at home. My 11-year-old. So it's very cool. So that would be the homework, is think about, is there a way where you can go, whether it's camping, you can go on a trip, pick something fun that your kids want to do if you have the ability to do it, and just go spend a weekend with them one-on-one.
I have a hard time believing with your discipline of eating that you don't care where you go to eat. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard, but I'll eat a burger. Or he was eating chicken tenders, and I ate his chicken tenders at the stadium. So
your body's like, what the hell is this?
That's exactly right.
That's awesome. All right, so schedule a trip, and you said the Duke Blue Devils are going to win the national championship.
That's it.
All right, my man. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
JB, you just went to, you saw a Memphis Grizzlies game with Joseph.
I did. Yeah, took my son there. Yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
Pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Talk to us a little bit about fitness, man. How has everything been going since last month?
It's good. Yeah.
Plugging away.
It's just a thing. It's a lifestyle.
I like it. Yeah. That's my question for you. So I said, has long-term planning come into this at all for you, or how have you kept the discipline going for, whatever it's been now, a year and a half?
Yeah, not quite a year and a half. I think discipline is just built, right? I think early on it's a change, right? When you change something drastically, but it just becomes, again, a lifestyle. It's just what I do.
Right.
It might be annoying to my family, but I'm always still weigh my food. I'm packing my lunch every day, and eat a lot of the same things. So, yeah.
I think too is I was in an airport yesterday down in Florida, and what I have found is the awareness that you have. I think you see things differently. So I don't know if it's always been this way, or if it's just coincidence. But everywhere I looked, there was beef jerky, power bars, Greek yogurt, all this stuff. So I don't know if there's been like a big change in there, or if I'm seeing things differently right now. So what do you think about that?
No, I'd agree. It's you tend to focus on what you want to focus on, right? So all those things, I'm sure, I would imagine over the years that's changed.
Sure.
It was probably there before, but you were focused on all the things that tasted good that weren't necessarily healthy for you, and that's what you saw. It's like,
I saw
when you get in
Shake
your car,
Shack.
then you see all the that car on the road all the time. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
So again, 5 kids, work, coaching. One of the first thing that drops is usually fitness, or I don't have time for it. So talk to that person listening to this right now that says those same things themselves: kids, coaching, busy, work, blah blah blah. What can we do day in and day out? Just something to get us going and get in the right steps.
It's just a decision, right? It's how you prioritize, right? And obviously, we have to prioritize our kids and work and all of those things. For me, it was just a choice. So I hadn't been going to the gym, right? And so when I made that decision, when you think about how many hours we have in a week, I go to the gym 4 days a week and spend about an hour. So it's 4 hours out of my week, right? And so it's just it's something I have to do, right? It's something I want to do, and I just make sure that it happens. And I typically always do it in the mornings, but sometimes, like I normally do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Today I wasn't. I knew looking ahead at my schedule that it was going to be difficult to get that in based on my kids' schedules and what we have, having this podcast and other things with work. I wanted to watch some basketball, so I moved my Thursday workout to yesterday. And so, again, it's a block, on my calendar to work out. And so I try to stay as consistent as I can, but, move it no different than I would anything else.
Yep. None of that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Just so you know, none of that sounds fun.
That's the fun guy speaking.
Yeah.
It is hard though, man. It's like, I'm I don't know, 3 months into this journey, and so I'm way behind, but it's funny how you do start to cross a barrier where it does become a little bit more fun and you look forward to it.
Yeah, and there are certainly days where I don't feel like going to the gym, but it's the feeling that you get when you're finished.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's the idea that, the joy can be extended beyond the activity producing that feeling.
Yep.
Right. And so I can feel good at 9 o'clock at night because I got the workout in, right? As opposed to just doing something that feels good in the moment. And as soon as you're done doing it, then you don't have that joy anymore.
Yeah. Talk about the snacks we need to be having around the house. So those people that have cravings at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, what are you doing there to still get something good in.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you said. I mean, it's the beef jerky, protein bars a lot. I just don't snack a whole lot anymore. And if I do, again, I have it built into my FitnessPal app, so I know I have room, right, for those calories. But just trying to avoid the things that are high in fat, all the processed food, right? Fruit is a great thing. Obviously, it can be high in carbs, but snack on grapes and any kind of fruit is going to be better and can be filling, right? So just making good decisions around that.
Nice. What challenge do you have for our listeners?
So last month it was to download, again, I endorse MyFitnessPal, but anything like that can track the calories. So hopefully if people did that, it raised some awareness of what their intake was. So I think the next challenge that I would have would be the next step. So there are a lot of people that, they always say, well, I want to lose some weight. I need to lose 10 pounds, is to look back and figure out what your average calorie intake is and then just go on a calorie deficit. So again, I talked about it last time. It's just science, right? So if you're taking in less, then the weight will come off, right? You just have to be consistent about it. So if you were averaging 3,000 calories, then try to drop it to 2,500. Or if you're aggressive, drop it to 2,000 and do that for more than a week, right?
Yeah.
Do it for a month or 6 weeks and see what happens. For people that don't really need to or want to lose weight, then my challenge to the collective group of everybody is just to take a walk every day for 10 minutes and call it a gratitude walk. No AirPods, not listening to anything and just thinking, and kind of can connect with Scott's maybe his prayer time, what I call the classroom of silence for 10 minutes, and just walk and be thankful, for all the things in your life, because I think when you have a heart of gratitude, it's hard to be stressed about things. It's hard to be angry when you just, really take a step back and you think of a lot of other people's circumstances in the world and be thankful for what you have. And then you're getting some fitness in while you're at it. So.
Amen to that. I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of MyFitnessPal, I just learned last week that there were these two 17-year-old kids that on AI created an app called Cal AI for calories. Yeah. And MyFitnessPal bought it for like $22 million. These kids built it, the whole thing on AI, and that's how you can scan. You can take a picture
of a plate of food, which is the hardest thing. Yeah, it's a lot of, when it has a barcode or you can weigh the food. It's really easy. It's very accurate. But if you're eating out somewhere and you don't know, that's incredible.
So think about that 17-year-old kid that did that for
good for
$22 million. Smart
Can
man.
I ask a question?
You sure can.
What do you think of Ozempic and those type of drugs? Are they healthy or are they not healthy?
I don't know enough to know to say that they're healthy or not healthy. I like doing it the natural way, right? But some people, I'm sure it's necessary, but I like putting the work in personally. I feel better.
It's tough. I don't know much about them, but it's I know some people that have done it.
Big industry.
Some side effects, and I think the question is, if you have to do it the rest of your life, would you want to do that? And then number two, if you're not fixing the root of the problem, the shot's not going to fix that of what you're putting in your mouth and if you're exercising or not. But it seemed to work. I don't know.
It works.
I'm not a doctor.
But I think that when they stop, they go right back to where they were and then some.
That's
usually.
Right.
So I'm just curious as to the health expert.
Yeah.
Who's won the national championship?
Well, you see I'm wearing my green today, of course, and I'm sure you can relate, when you have kids in college and how quickly you become a fan of those universities.
That's right.
I reluctantly picked Michigan to beat Duke in the final, but
so Michigan, man.
They knocked down my Spartans twice this year. They're good. They're a good team. So.
All right, Jason, thanks so much, my man.
Appreciate it.
Ted McNulty, he's back. Fun is here.
Actually, sorry I was not here last week.
Last month you were not. You were out having fun somewhere.
I was out having fun with my clients, playing a little golf.
I like it.
And ended up getting a new prospective client, so that was a plus. That was fun.
Did you play well?
I did play okay. I got a brand new driver.
Yeah.
And I got to get that dialed in, but my putter was on fire, so that was a big plus.
So a new putting lesson maybe, right?
Yes, exactly.
A lot of driven people, I think, struggle with this. Is you want to have a lot of fun, but then you also can beat yourself up over, well, I need to work, right? So how do you deal with that, and what advice would you have for people?
Well, I think that you have to define work because, quite frankly, in my world, work is fun. It sounds maybe cliche or odd, but you got to do things that you like. And I think in general, as human nature, if you're good at something, guess what? You like it, and it's fun. So I really have fun with our team. We got Adam and Bonnie with us, and we like to have fun and incorporate more like less tedious tasks and more fun things that are associated with it with the clients, and they love it.
I love it. What one of the things I was curious what you'd say on this one is, what's the most fun you've had this year for under $20? Done anything?
That's a good question. I will tell you
it's hard to find anything for $20.
It was
these
maybe
days.
not under $20, but my wife is a huge fan of The Price is Right. And they had The Price is Right live at the factory.
Really?
And that was, we got our T-shirts all made up, and it was just her and I. And it was just, come on down, you're the next contestant on The Price is Right. So I will say that was a blast. And we didn't get called down, but my wife, I took a picture of her watching and just screaming, "Laure, Laure!"
That's awesome.
It was great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So did you plan that? Or like, I didn't even know that was even in town. Did you, Tim?
I did not know
They
that
didn't
was in
do a
town,
very good
no.
job of advertising it, but I kind of caught wind, and my wife got frustrated with the news and started to watch Price is Right, and it's on our house at all times. She likes kind of the background noise, and so when I heard they were coming to town, I immediately got floor tickets, and we had a night of it. We went to Napoli Brothers right there, which is right across the street, and one of the best things we've done this year.
That little area is cool out there. I've not been out there. I know they've got obviously Top Golf, but then they've got all the other stuff there. What's out there?
So they have the the decent restaurants, but we actually have a coworker. They have a live stage out there. Tim Hanser,
right.
our friend and peer, is in a band, and they actually played on stage. So you can have concerts. When they don't have concerts, they use the big screen TV for like the USA hockey team.
Okay.
So it's kind of a family-oriented facility. They also have, and I think I got this idea from you, but over the holidays we did the game show internal, where you actually are the contestants on the game show. Kind of, I think you're doing that for the team coming up next week. So they also have that in that facility. There's a lot of, I think, activities in that area that are fun and designed to be outdoor.
Cool. You got a little pickleball there, I believe, too.
Little pickleball, little brewery. They did a good job of repurposing that failed wholesale shop.
Yeah. Sounds fun. Maybe we should go out there. Homework for our listeners today.
Well, since Scott was talking about Easter, one of the things that we do at our house is a little friendly competition, and we have Easter eggs all throughout the house. Like, we probably just get 100 of the plastic eggs, and my kids are old. They're
Right.
24, 23, 22, and they still love it, and they get very competitive. And we have one egg that is gold that has a $50 bill in it, and I get to hide it, and it's not out in the open. Usually they have to get hints and then once they see it's out in the open, they're like, oh my gosh. But that's a fun thing you can do with your family. Just do an Easter egg hunt, no matter what size or age. And there's just eggs everywhere. So they're all just putting them in there, and some of them are with candy, some of them have a lottery ticket, some of them have nothing, some of them, it's just, some of them has a dollar bill, but they have some fun. And my daughter, who never wins, is the only one that's going to be home this year. So maybe she has a chance of getting the golden egg this year.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been doing that?
Since they were born.
Yeah.
Since they were born. My wife is excellent with all of the holiday festivities, and she gets over the top. Our house is all decorated with Easter bunnies and all that kind of stuff right now, which maybe Scott would say that's not what Easter's about. But
I have a quick story about that. We would always hide Easter baskets for our kids. Same thing. And my job was to put them in unique spots. So, I don't know, 15 years ago, kids are little. I hide it. I put it in the oven. I go down to read my newspaper, and my wife is going to make some food.
Preheat.
She preheats the oven, and I'm reading the newspaper, and I can smell this very distinct smell of plastic kind of melting and burning. And then I realize, oh my goodness, she has turned on the oven. And so we salvaged like 80% of it. Yeah. And the other part of these other stories is what we're watching around our house now is Family Feud.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Harvey, Family Feud.
I like it.
Yeah, great. I guess that's a signal of our age.
Yes.
Must be.
The Price is Right in Family Feud.
I love it.
So that's what I have to look forward to?
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
We have college basketball on all the time. It feels like that's all that's on at our house. But
Yeah.
it's good. Speaking of that, who's going to win the national championship?
I have Florida.
Okay.
I have Florida going down.
So I didn't ask myself the question. I'll put down here because I have the same thing. I have Florida winning it as well.
Okay.
So we got 2 Floridas, 2 Dukes, and a Michigan. All right. Anything else on the fun side?
That's it.
All right,
Let me know
man.
how it goes with the golden egg.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tim Hammett, talking about Firm. How we doing?
We're doing wonderful. There's all sorts of positive updates for the day. You asked about the app called Cal AI.
Yeah. Huh?
I just downloaded it Sunday night.
No kidding.
Just, what is that, 4 nights ago? I was talking to a relative who they're trying to have some fitness goals, and they said they have another company here in St. Louis, First Form. They have a very good app that counts your macro calories.
That's right.
So I go on the internet, or on the App Store, I should say. I look up, different apps that you can download. That's the first one that popped up. It's fantastic. It is fantastic.
So it's same. It takes a picture of your food.
I did it 90 minutes ago, I guess. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Chicken, grapes, and nuts. That's my plate of food.
I'd be curious
And
how
then
accurate.
it identified it almost, to the granular level.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. So anyway,
so they're all blending. I think you mentioned that last time. All of our stuff blends,
All of our stuff
which
blends.
is great. And we're here to talk about Firm. And
yes,
the question I thought, and obviously some deeper questions, but most people can tell you what they do, but they can't really tell you exactly who they are. I think you do a good job of that. At least I feel like I do because we talk so much. What would you recommend for people to find out really who they are, what they stand for?
That's a wonderful question. I think we can be in conversations with people, could be friends, could be family, could be clients or customers. And if you've ever noticed, either in yourself or the other person, there could be a really strong feeling. There could be a trigger or a cue, and it triggers something. And in those moments, if I'm witnessing someone else do that, my old reaction would maybe be to say, what's wrong with you? Or, do you have a problem? And I think we need to reframe that thinking and ask, what happened to you? And if we go back in our lives, and again, I've said this numerous times, and it can get to be somewhat of a broken record, but if you go back in your life, if you ask the person, what happened to you in your life that creates that feeling? Where's that feeling coming from? So you ask the question, how do we get to know ourselves better, or how would people know themselves better? I think if you have greater awareness in the moment and paying attention to your feelings, joy, sadness, anger, frustration, disappointment, and if it's a really strong feeling, just pause and ask yourself, what happened to me in my past that's causing that feeling? Or if you experience someone else that you care about having a strong feeling, I would ask them, I need to remember to ask them the same thing.
Yeah, that's strong. It makes me think about, too, business coaches. I know you've worked with business coaches. I have as well. Is that meeting on the calendar, whether it's once a week or once a month, I think that's helped me over the years. I'm sure you as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think having somebody ask you a question is one of the best things you can do, right? So ask, don't tell.
Yes.
How do you manage the tension of, and this, there's a lot of younger folks that listen to this as well, and that they're here today, they want to be here. How do you manage the tension of where you're at versus where you want to be going?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would encourage everybody to do, and this maybe is part of my homework if I'm jumping ahead, but it would tie into this concept. If you, as you would think of, dream passionately, I think people's initial reaction is if you ask someone about their goals or dreaming, our brains can limit ourselves it pretty dramatically, right? So I would say the first thing is whatever that dream is, whether it's health, whether it's family, whether it's where you want to live, make it as big as possible, and then maybe even double it again. That'd be the first thing I would say. And then I had a note here, you become what you think about when applied with action. So what calms me is if you set a really, really, really big goal, then if you back into it and break it down, obviously I think if you break it down daily, Jason had talked about health goals, Dan talks about family. Ted talks about family and friends and fun. Katie will talk about finances. I think if we break those down to a daily goal, I become calm because I know I just need to work the plan.
Yep. That's
and
great.
then the tension goes away.
Yep. And so I think, so is that then the homework, just to clarify that is the homework. So write down goals, dreams.
I would say write down goals and dreams, and do not limit it, and don't set any limit on it whatsoever. And so whatever you're thinking, again, you might say, I want a different home. Well, anywhere in the world would you like to live? Well, maybe I'd like to live in Europe or maybe Italy. Okay, write that down. Now, maybe it's not a reality, but you don't know that yet.
Right.
Back it into your daily action steps. So unlimited thinking.
Yep. Do you have a spot you like to go to when you dream and think and write those things down?
It's interesting. In the morning time in my home, there's this sitting room, and there's a chair. And again, I might have mentioned this in a prior discussion. I get so calm when I can sit in that chair, for 30 or 40 minutes. It sets the tone for the rest of my day. It's a chair in our hearth room in our home.
That's awesome.
And I leave the lights off, and it's just kind of a quiet, early in the morning, it's kind of a quiet, dark room as the sun's coming up.
I love it. One of my favorite spots in St. Louis I've been to for years is the big fireplace in the corner of the Ritz-Carlton lobby.
Yes.
I don't know why I like that. It's a pretty big fireplace. It's beautiful. And I don't know. I like to go there. My mind opens up and just start writing things down and dreaming. Who's going to win the national championship?
I'm going with Arkansas. Two of our close, a family, one of our closest friends, Dave, Amy, and their son, Ben, almost like a second son to me, goes to Arkansas. Going with the Arkansas Hogs.
Okay. They've done well here toward the end of the season.
They could have a run.
So
you never know.
It's awesome. Thank you, Tim Hammett.
Yep,
You're welcome
thank
to
you.
stick around here because we got Katie Martin for finances. How we doing, Katie?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. What's been going on the last month? Anything exciting?
Oh, just making it through all the things that everybody's talking about with the fitness and the family and the fun, trying to balance that. It's, kind of a constant way of life.
It is, isn't it? It's are we in a crazy season for sports at all right
Nope,
now?
we're in a slow season. So school
rest
sports are
of
all
summer?
done, and so now we just have soccer, and so it's kind of nice.
Nice. So questions for you. So if you strip away all the apps, the software, all the stuff, right, what's the one financial belief that separates people who build real wealth versus people that are always feeling like they're behind?
Yep. So, kind of like Jason was mentioning earlier, building wealth is math. So the two biggest decisions and the simplest places to start are to spend less than you earn so that you are not digging yourself into a hole, and it's to start saving early. Yep. So if you can do those two things, it makes it very simple.
Yep. It's so funny, isn't it? I mean, how you can compare your wealth and your health. I mean,
they're the same.
Eat less, less calories and exercise, more output, right? On the finance side, save money and do it early. Pretty simple. But yet hard.
But if there are things that are important to you, so if you're out to dinner and you're at a really good restaurant and there's a dessert you really want to try, then splurge on that. I mean, the same thing for your money. If there's something that's really important to you and your family, then that's a good thing to spend your money on.
Yep.
So
there's good spending and bad spending, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Self-worth and net worth. You've heard that before, right? Where people can kind of confuse the two or make one. Your self-worth is only as good as your net worth, right? So what advice would you have for those people that feel that way, and how do you separate those two?
When I go through the exercise of reviewing the net worth with a client, I usually frame it as this is just kind of a picture of one point in time with where you stand. And in reality, that doesn't necessarily matter on reaching your goals. So it's more about having a plan in place to achieve those things that are important to you, which I think actually resonates a lot more with your self-worth than your net worth.
Yeah. And I think too, so many times people kind of define themselves by having a bigger net worth, right? So again, do you ever work with clients on separating those two, or is that just something that just kind of happens organically for them?
So when we review the financial plan, we usually talk about the net worth before we get into the plan, because that's kind of like your financial picture, where you're starting from, where you stand today. But that conversation is a lot shorter than it is on, okay, so you've told me these are the things that matter most to you. Here's what we need to do to get to those. So I think it's a piece of information that is interesting, but that's not the most important thing towards achieving a meaningful life through your money.
Talk about any homework or assignments you're thinking about for people for the next month.
Yep. So this time of year, I find that a lot of clients are reaching out to me because this is kind of the time of year where they're getting raises or bonuses, and you kind of have a better picture on what the next 12 months are going to look like financially for your family. So one of the things I find myself telling clients often lately is, you haven't gotten used to this raise yet. Let's put 1% more aside for your retirement. So until, and this is very, basic knowledge that I'm sure people have heard before, but it's easy to understand. It can be hard to execute because it's tempting when you get a raise to, I've got more money coming in, we can do these extra things. And that's true, but if you can kind of split the difference and just start with 1% more to put it towards your retirement, I think that's kind of an important move you can make to help shift more of that math in your favor towards getting your money to grow towards your goal of someday being in retirement.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, because what they call it, the lifestyle creep, right? All of a sudden you start making more, so then you're spending more, and it doesn't feel any different, right? Like the more you can start putting away, the better. So great stuff. I think I know the answer to this, but maybe not. Who do you think is going to win the national championship?
I'm going to have to go with Duke too.
Okay.
So, sorry.
I thought maybe there'd be well, you didn't go to Atlanta. You went to Bradley.
Yeah.
So Duke. So Duke's the overwhelming favorite. Three people said Duke.
How much do I win if Arkansas wins?
Well, you get a bottle of water.
We get a bottle of
free water.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll throw out $20 for you. How's that?
Nope, I want more.
You want more?
Okay. Look at the odds here.
Negotiate.
Yes.
I like it. And the fun thing we did at Hanser's place was that horse racing game. I bought one of those. That game where you
really
scratch?
Yep.
And man,
fun.
Is it fun if you haven't had
it. Anybody of any age can do it. We've had some really good times with that.
Yeah.
Big groups
I
of family.
just got turned on recently to that game. Well, the last couple of years, but only play it once a year. And now I got one. It's amazing. You type in horse game with cards and dice, because I didn't know what the heck it was called. And there's a million of them that show up. So on Etsy, you can go on there. It's $75. It's got a G, our name in it, and it, into the wood or whatever, and shows up at my house like a week and a half later. Now we're playing after dinner. It's a fun time. So, well, thanks so much for being with us, everybody, and being on the Circuit of Success. Always love the fact that we can talk about our faith, our family, our fitness, our firm, our fun, and our finances in a bite-sized 30-minute deal, and amazing people you all are. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you, partner.